Welcome, everybody, to another broadcast of the February 2022, our fifth annual event. Let me remind you, if you're not already a subscriber to this channel, hit the subscription button so you can become a part of all this exciting programming that we have coming up this month and then on into the rest of the year. Today's guest is going to talk about something that I think pertains to most of us here. I did a survey on the channel a little bit earlier today asking, I'm pulling it up right now as I'm looking to see what the latest results are. And I was asking, what decade of life are most of the viewers in? And in 30s, we got 39%, in 40s, 24%, and in the 50s, 7%. So as you can see, the greatest number of people on this channel are in their 30s and 40s. Our guest is going to be talking to us about what happens to women as we age and how our life, a lot of women start thinking, and we hear this a lot online, right? You hit the wall at 30 and, nobody wants you and you're useless and this and that. And our guest tonight is going to give you some real good information about how that's not true and how you can be greater later. So help me welcome Ardith Bowman to the show. Hey, Ardith.
Hey, thanks, Deborrah. This is great.
Oh, I love it. So would you like to say a little bit about, do a little introduction about yourself and your work?
Sure, I will. I'm Dr. Ardith Bowman. I'm a recovering professor into my new life, and I do have to say that there is no wall, so just get rid of that idea anywhere in life. I don't care how old you are. And I am really all about supporting women in their quest to live a full and vital life, and especially cognitive resilience through life. And there is a path to do that. And I love to guide women as they figure out how to do that for themselves as their life progresses.
What kind of things do you find are typical issues that women experience, say, in their 50s, 60s, and beyond?
What really happens, and you did allude to this in your introduction, is that it's almost like we see possibilities become much more limited and life begins to be all about just relaxing and managing decline. Decline is a huge assumption. Yeah. And it starts earlier than you think. And that's really not at all what it's all about. We live in a work, not work culture, for one thing. And what that means is that in our culture, at least when we're working, we have relevance. So if you're 30 and working, you probably feel that, right? If you're 55, 60, 65 and stop working, there is this sense internally and from our culture that we no longer have relevance. I mean, and that's a huge issue. And we'd like to change that, by the way. Whatever age you are, start working on changing that. So begin there. Yeah. And our culture,
one thing we were talking about before we really started this, started the interview was the change in demographics of age throughout this country. Can you kind of hit on that a little bit?
Yeah, that's there's a lot of us, 50 boomers, baby boomers, if you will, the big generation. We've just been overtaken by the millennials, so that's just happened. We're not the biggest one anymore.
So what years they always say boomers, Generation X, millennials.
I know.
What's the year range of baby boomers?
Baby boomers right now are age 54 on up to, I think it's late 70s, 78, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think if you were born, the oldest, let's see, the oldest was born in 1945, something like that. So anyway, that's it. That's the age range. And there's a lot of us. There's 70, what I have written down here. Oh yeah, there is 75 million altogether. Over half of those are over age 55 or 65, and that's increasing. So we do have an aging society, and what we're going to talk about today matters a lot. It matters to us individually. It matters to our culture. It matters to the policy in our society. It can go deeper than what we'll ever get into, but it's an important issue in aging well.
So how can a woman start doing that? I mean, should we start doing that, in our 40s or 30s? What kind of mental adjustments do we need to start making so that we can live the kind of life that you're talking about in our 50s, 60s and beyond?
If I were to highlight one thing, and it has to do, and this is a stuckness that I find in women, is that take a look at where your actions are driven from now. We're not very practiced, at least the women I know, are not very practiced in really listening to their own voice and doing what they're called to do. We're always, especially women, men do this too, but especially women, we look outside ourselves for what we must ought to be doing. And so if you're 45 and you're doing what's expected of you, you might begin practicing now, asking yourself, what is it that you truly want? And that's the block, because when you say you retire at 65, that becomes the question, because we don't have any role models. And so we have to create it ourselves if we're going to create anything at all. That's what we're being called to do, Deborah. In our generation, we are being called to really disrupt this whole thing. Do you know that, okay, Social Security, do you know why Social Security is at age 65?
I thought they changed it. Didn't they change it?
It's still 65.
Oh, is it optional now? Okay.
Yeah, it is, right. But you can get it at 65. It's because when it was instituted, most people on average did not live for more than 63 years. Now, if you are healthy, yeah, think about that. If we've got this whole stuff from decades ago, get rid of it. If you're a healthy 65, you are going to easily live into your 80s. If you're a healthy 80, you're going to live into your 90s. That gives women sometimes more decades in post-work than they spent at work. What the heck are we supposed to do with that? That becomes the question, not only for us, but to make a difference in the world.
Oh, this is, this is so, I'm so glad you reached out to me, because you think about, we think about setting up for retirement, but some people don't even do that. I mean, financial,
Right.
Setting up our funds.
Right.
But I don't think really we don't give much thought to, well, what are we going to do with ourselves after we're not going to work? Because so much of our life as women circles around raising children,
serving,
and having a job.
Serving. We serve. We've been good partners, perhaps good moms, good friends, good employees. And I'll tell you what happens when women retire. I did a informal survey on Facebook. Really scientific, right? But anyway, I did. And
hey, that works for me.
Yeah. And I got over 200 responses. That works. And it was, women of our generation. And really, there was a fifth of them only. A fifth is not, too many, but they were saying, I've done it all, right? I've served my time, if you will, and only thing I want to do is kick back and relax. There were, God, how many? Let me look. I had that written down someplace. There were approximately a third of them that were kind of going, well, make the most of the freedom of this time. Sometimes I want to kick back and relax. Sometimes I want to do something new, and so that's kind of, freedom, but I don't really, just whatever comes to mind. Right. And a half, I love this, a half said, yes, I am so into learning and growth. And they would say things like, if you stop growing, you die. It's the end of life, and they had that part nailed. But here's the really strange part that gets at what we're talking about, is that they kept saying, yep, I'm doing it because I'm busy. And you know what? Busy does not equate to meaning and relevance necessarily. And so
a lot of people are just busy as a distraction.
Busy as a distraction, exactly right. And so the thing that the dial we need to turn here is for women to realize the importance of creating personal meaning in this phase of life, because it's from that then that it influences. This is Harvard Health. They published this, that sense of meaning and purpose improves your health, increases significantly longevity, and also results in cognitive resilience. And by that, I mean it wards off Alzheimer's. That was the big fear word, right? And improves your memory. And just purpose, just having purpose. But guess where that comes from? To your point, it comes from listening to that voice within. What brings meaning to me? That's the question.
Okay, so this is one of the things you were talking about where women get stuck.
They get stuck.
Points.
Right, because they've never stopped to ask themselves what matters to me. Yeah.
I'm just the opposite, because I always felt like my job is getting in the way of what I'm trying to do with my life.
Oh.
But I kind of needed money, so it was kind of a necessary evil. But I never. Some people that put their all into their jobs, that was never me.
Okay, so you know what
I
matters
give them
to you.
what I need to, and maybe sometimes a little bit more in an environment where they give you bonuses and things like that. Oh yeah, I'm all over that.
Yeah.
But for the ones that just give you the straight paycheck, no, I'm not.
No,
you're not getting my best.
Yeah.
Be happy with what you get, and that's it.
Yeah, and we really have to watch our assumptions about what age is all about. I was going to bring up one example. Betty White, who sadly just passed away. I think you probably know that she did.
Right. How old was she again?
I think she was just about 100. She was almost there, wasn't she? Yeah, it was almost her birthday. She's our resident optimist. And yeah, good model. We don't have many. Go with that one. And the interesting thing is that optimism, which I put under the umbrella of mindset. That's optimism, feeling that you're connected to something bigger than yourself, faith, right? That kind of thing. That is another research-based pillar to longevity. There's another one. And a couple of more examples, and we can talk about more at the end. These are few and far between. Let's face it. I mean, we live in a society that if you turn on television, what you see is advertising for the boomer generation that's targeted at A, anti-aging products, or B, pharmaceuticals. And that's the real deal. And this is going to blow you away. Just the anti-wrinkle market, just that market is poised to be a 12 billion, that is with a B, okay, industry, $12 billion. And my whole point is, for everyone that's listening, is that the true fountain of youth is really in our own belief system and mindset and how we decide to live our lives. And yes, we have control over that.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for saying that. So many women.
It's really, really important. Yeah.
So tell me this. Tell me about, you say that women are content to maintain the status quo. The status quo. What do you mean? And why are they content anyway?
Oh, no, I hear that a lot. And even in the survey, I heard that a lot. I don't want to be obligated. And that's part of, I don't want to be obligated to anything. I've been obligated, to my family, my work, my kids, to all these things I've done with the schools, and, I'm done. And so they get stuck in that I don't want to be obligated, therefore I won't do anything kind of space. And this is where, and they're really there. And this is where we need to understand the value of, I call it, the inner wise woman, quite frankly, is what I call it. It's our intuition. It's that inner voice. It's knowing ourselves that we talked about earlier. And, get out of this, it's time to take it easy mentality. It's important. You need to learn to listen to yourself. We're often not very practiced at that. And quite frankly, that's where getting a coach or having a good friend, whatever works for you, is helpful. Because we're not practiced at that. And Claire Zammit, if you've heard of her, she's the one that runs Feminine Power. Yeah, she talks about this, and she says you can't become yourself by yourself. And that is really, really true. We all need support. We do not do this alone, especially as women. Especially as women.
How do you think a woman can find what kinds of things excite her and bring her joy? And what I mean is, so many women's lives are filled with what you just kind of touched on, obligation and responsibility towards others. And when you ask them, well, what kind of things are you interested in? What would be your hobby? What would be your interest? They don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that kind of self-exploration?
Yes, actually. There's, what is her name? I'll have to think of it. I have to review what her name is. I can actually lead you before we're through here to give you one. Oh, Martha Beck is a
Okay.
good person to read on that, if you've heard of her. And actually, there's a number of routes. One of them is called Noticing What You're Noticing. And this is one of the examples I was going to offer more towards the end, but let's do it now because I can then explain to you what I mean by that.
Okay.
And that is one of my clients who retired and was going, here I am. And like, now what? But at least she asked the question. Yay for her. And that's a win right there. And her story is that she started noticing people that hike. She says that really fascinates me. And she says, well, heck, if they can get out and hike, I can get out and walk. So she started walking. And this is the way life works, right? This is a great story. A friend that she had not talked to in years called her and wanted to get back together again. And so they started walking together. And guess what? This friend was a hiker. Isn't that the way it works? And you know what they're
Always.
doing this year, 2022? They're
I'm
hiking the
scared.
Oregon PCT together.
Isn't that like 100 miles or something?
Oh, it's a long ways. Yeah, it's a big deal to do. And so, and that's how it works. And all she did was notice what was intriguing her. Just notice. It could be something, it could be something that you left behind in the past. It's said that often, usually it's in middle school, around age 12 or 13, we have something we're really interested in, but then our parents must ought to take us another way, right? And we go do
Mm-hmm.
what we were told to do, right? Some women go back to that. It could be some form of creativity. I know a woman who's written 3 books in her late 60s because that's what she's always wanted to do. So it really is spending some time getting to know yourself and what would you love? What turns on your lights? What makes you feel juicy? And there's no right answer. It could be something as simple as, you know, I just want to be able to get up out of this chair and feel good walking down the street, right? I mean, it could be as simple as that. It doesn't matter because there's this whole, I call it the vicious cycle. And it's like when we get into this, okay, ages decline. I retired. I'm just going to take it easy. I don't want to be obligated. I don't want to do anything. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to watch this series. I'm going to have my glass of wine in my hand, right? I can guarantee you, yeah, I can guarantee you that you do that for a year, your health will decline. Okay, I can guarantee it, unless you've got some really, really good genes somewhere.
I mean, some superb genes.
Okay, yeah, really. And so, and so the thing is, if you get into that vicious cycle, how do you get out of it, right? And how you get out of it is one step at a time. You decide how it is you want your life to be. And there's, really the 4 pillars we work with. We mentioned 2 of them. That's, the personal meaning, that sense of personal meaning, what turns my lights on, what brings me joy, what is it I've always wanted, what is it that I'm noticing, right? There's the mindset that we talked about. That's like the Betty White optimism, a sense of faith in life and who you are, right? This sense of being connected with something larger than yourself. The third one, and this is a really important pillar, is being connected, like connected in relationships, connected in love, connected in community. And I mean, a simple stat that my a doctor friend told me is that connected people are 3 times less likely to have heart attacks.
Oh, really?
There it is. I mean, this is all
That's
research based. Every one of these pillars is research based. And then the fourth one, of course, is, just, your fitness level and eating well. But those four are all proven, by research. And so what we do in coaching, I mean, it's too big of a bite to do them all at once. Like, come on, that's not going to happen. But to begin to turn this around and have a life of vitality, and love where you're at in life is to really just decide what's in season right now. What is it that I'm most drawn to out of these? You're not leaving any of them behind. You're just saying, this is where I need to start. I, Deborah, need to start right here.
That's great because,
Yeah.
that's the reason I'm asking you these questions. It may not seem to be all that related, is that this is a theme that comes up. And having done that survey, I mean, that went up about 2 hours ago to
Oh,
find out
wow.
what the age group is. I did that for
Uh-huh.
you so that we would know the age of the people that we're talking to. And even though a large percentage of them are in their 30s and 40s now, of course, with things going well, they'll
Uh-huh.
be in their 50s. And, it's the time for them to start making these adjustments and thinking
It is.
for long term is now. And that's
It is.
why I'm really glad for you to be here. Because I talked to them about changing their perspective and how they handle
Right.
themselves and what they do with their lives in the here and now.
Right.
But you're the expert on this topic.
Well, and that's really true. It's what you begin in the 40s, you benefit from in the later decades. That is really true. So if you're 45 and you're going, there's a few things here I need to work on, do start, because the benefits, well, you will reap the benefits in years to come. It is important. Yeah.
So would you like to share those example stories that to give the viewers a little inspiration and ideas about how to do this real life events?
Yeah, I'll go a couple of places. The first one, I just want to give some examples of who we can be as elder women in our society. I already mentioned Betty White and our optimist, our lovely optimist. There was another woman, her name is Diana Nyad, and she tried many times to swim. She's a swimmer from Cuba to Florida. Don't ask me why, but she knew why for her. So there you go. That's good enough for
Through
me.
all those sharks and everything?
Yeah, through all that, right? And salt water of all things. She finally did it at age 64. So, yes, we can be strong. Yes, we can be strong. And the other woman I told you about hiking the PCT in Oregon. Yes, we can be strong. There is another woman in her 70s. I believe she's 74, and her name, she's with MIT. Oh, shoot. Let me think of her, see if I can find her name that I have written down here. I cannot find her name. She is 74 years old, however. Oh, Barbara Liskov. All right. She leads MIT's programming methodology group. Got me, but that's what she leads. And she continually wins awards for her work at 74 years old.
Wow.
So don't say that boomers are past their prime. And research has shown that we can be smart, we can be strong, and we can outperform younger people just by virtue of our experience and how our brains manage that. We are more organized, we're better problem solvers, we're more reliable. We've got this whole litany of things that we can do better, and that experience that we have and this is a mental thing, really compensates for any of the issues we might be dealing with, due to age. And so we really need to honor that. And this is into the 80s. I'm not talking about 55 years old. This is into the 80s that we can outperform in certain tasks.
I know my doctor, I know he was in retirement and he came back. He has to be at least 83, 84.
Uh-huh.
I
And
mean,
he's
his
on it.
eye just, but his brain is just as sharp as anything.
Right. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's right. We have to not assume otherwise is the key. That's the whole belief system.
What about, this may sound a little shallow, but it's a concern a lot of women have, touching on kind of circling back to the wrinkle cream industry. How can we promote that there is beauty in every age? So many women seem to think that once they hit a certain age, I don't know, 45, 50, whatever, that they're no longer beautiful, that they're too old.
I know. Oh no, I have a wrinkle coming here.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I get that. Get the Botox quick. Okay. Yeah.
And it's just, I just see it being so damaging, not only to their age group, but to younger women who are afraid to get to that age. And this is something I think that it has a deeper impact than we really like to accept.
We're both emotional about this.
Yeah,
yes.
This is tough.
Yes, I'm very much so. First of all, everyone out there, it's up to each and every one of us to change that. Each and every one of us. We need to be aware of our own ageism. The way we talk, what we assume, the way we treat our own bodies, the way we talk to other women. That's where it starts. And I'm not going to say fight back, to the industry that produces the anti-wrinkle cream. It's like we control, 70% of the disposable income it's 55% of the disposable income in the US. So, I mean, but that includes, even if you're a partnered woman, assuming that women do control the purse strings in many cases. That 55% of those purse strings can speak, quite frankly. So watch where you put your money. And, if we don't support some of these industries, they're marketing to us, they're gray washing products because we're money. We represent money. And to your point, Deborah, that impacts every single woman in terms of what we think of ourselves and our own beauty. And we are beautiful. There's a new book out there I would highly recommend, no matter what age you are. It's a 2021 copyright, and it's called Collective Wisdom. And it's like my coffee table book. And it's this beautiful, beautiful book of the voices of women of every age. I think it's 50 plus, right? But it's this beautiful book that shares their stories and their beauty. And the pictures of there are of wrinkled, wise women and their hands and their faces. And you look at that and you want to cry at how beautiful they are. And that's who we are. And that's who we need to allow ourselves to be. And so we need to use our own voices to allow that to happen in our culture. That's the disruption I really want to see occur. And we're the generation to do it. We're the generation to do it. I have no doubt. We've done it all for heaven's sakes. I mean, aren't we equal rights? Aren't we the ones that got women in college? I mean, aren't we the ones that got women into professional careers? Hello, let's not stop now,
Yeah, no, it's becoming actually more important, because I just feel like we're not only fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for the younger girls coming, our daughters and granddaughters and nieces and all of that.
We're laying the foundation for them. Yeah, totally. Yeah, we see it the same way. That's exactly what we're doing. Yeah.
Well, Ardith, I want to give you, a few moments to make some closing comments and let all the viewers know where they can find you.
Yes. Okay. Boy, that went by quick. I have a lot more I can share. Anyway, I love this. It's so important. Yes, my business is called Becoming You After 60. The easiest way to reach me is just connect at ardithbowman.com.
Okay.
And you, I, I've done this. I've done this. Myself. I've totally reinvented my life, and I love my life. I'm 73. I love me. I love what I'm doing. I feel strong and vital, and I love supporting women as they find their way. This is to what we were discussing. This is so important. It's a very values-driven quest for me,
Me
and
too.
I love doing it. Yeah, yeah.
That's why I'm
Thank you.
glad you wrote. I'm glad you wrote to me, Ardith. So
Yeah,
you
I
can
know
be
we're kindred
here.
spirits here. I can tell. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, well, I will put your link to your website in the show
Okay. Thank
description
you.
once
Yeah.
this interview goes up. And I'll be sure to provide you with the link too. So when it airs, you can go and watch yourself and critique yourself like I do.
Uh-oh.
Like, oh
Oh
no, why
boy.
did you make that face?
Oh no.
Oh, it's fun. It's great fun. But I'm
It's
sure
great
you'll be
fun.
very well received. And I really appreciate you coming by. So thank you.
Oh, I'm grateful. Thank you, Deborah.
Go
Thank you
talk
so
to you later.
much. Okay.
Okay, everybody. That was Dr. Ardith Bowman. As you can see, I could have kept her here all day, but I try to keep people, around 30 minutes so that we don't take up their entire life. But you can check the link out in the show description down below. Take a look at her website. Maybe send her a question if you have one. I'm sure she'd be happy to answer it. And this is just the start. As I said, we've got 28 full days of videos every single day, and each one of them is designed to elevate your thinking about yourself, the choices that you make, and the path that you have your life on. I'm really hoping that those of you in your 40s and beyond take heed to this and start making the changes that you need to make now, so that when you do get into your 60s and 70s, you have a plan in place on how you're going to be the greatest mature woman that you've ever seen. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys real soon. Make sure you hit that subscription button before you get up out of here. Bye bye.